all of this is taking a fair amount of time to implement. So, for example, when digital signatures got implemented 5 years ago, I have yet to do anything with a digital signature. Why is that, and what kind of changes need to happen in order to have that and these kinds of changes happen within corporations and outside in society?
Well, let me say this. You know, if you're again, this is from the perspective of the C-level executive and shareholders, even for non-public companies. If you can show me, and I'll give you an example, like a Web 2.0 example, right? So one of our clients, U.S. Bank, looked at all the extra bodies and productivity loss and in the logistics space for supply chains and decided, well, there's a better way to put everything on the internet, make it paper, abandon paper, focus on digital, and do a business transformation of logistics and tie that to a banking product, a card. Well, that saved the clients, potential clients who didn't exist yet, about 25% of their costs for moving, Sony moving or Hitachi moving products from one part of the world to the other. Well, that was a clear way that they could start a new business, monetize existing core assets, and provide downstream value to their customers that they couldn't get. And XBRL is an example of that, right? Because they integrated XBRL as part and parcel with that because, of course, it's easy to do that, as you pointed out earlier. You can tie, your your merchant banking piece, your SWIFT piece. You can do reporting. They squeeze more agility out of it. So to me, it's not all about, gee, this is a more efficient and productive way to do this. Now I've got 25% more I'm passing on to my customer for competitive value. Now I'm saving all this money that I can put into new products, new services, and maybe being more competitive as an organization. What board or C-level organization doesn't want to have even half of that, 10% more either profits or revenues or opportunities that they didn't have yesterday?
Yep, agreed. And I think to get back to the digital signature question, what it's going to require is for the supply chain to move onto the internet. And right now, our supply chain in the capital markets is still a pre-Henry Ford era manual idea. So as it moves onto the internet with XBRL, you will see digital signatures. You do have, French have been using digital signatures for 5 years, but it's because they've had an electronic process for 5 years. The same in Sweden, same in the Netherlands. So just here in the US, we're not doing that. You will see that, I think, in the very near future.
Why don't we end it there, unless you've got a question. Go ahead.
Considering the sensitivity and confidentiality of all this information that's going on over the internet through this process, how do you protect it from bots and hackers, and how do you protect it?
So let's use that as the example. We're just talking about digital signatures. In 2002 or something, a college student went onto the Emulex website, took their press release in PDF, changed it, and posted it into a financial chat room, shorted the stock, and this college student made about $250,000 in the next 24 hours. The stock tanked. It lost over $2.5 billion in that same 24-hour period, was cut in half. Okay? So my point is, this is actually a more secure environment than what we have today. Our problem today is security. Our problem today is agility and cost. So these documents are actually more secure, more valid, more validatable, authenticatable than any of the formats you have today. Not only from an information perspective, but from a security perspective. So if you could also think about like a piece of information that's in the financial statements, like you've got financial statements that are audited, you've got MD&A that's not audited. Today, if I pull a piece of information out of the report and show it to you, you don't know if that piece of information is audited or not, because it loses its context when you take it out of the document. Well, in the XBRL world, when you pull it out, all that context goes with it. So it's actually more validatable that way. Does that help you?
Sort of. I'm not really worried too much about the validation. Just, people, external forces coming in to corrupt the database or
I see. Well, the external forces are not going to have any more access to your internal systems than they do today. So, okay. So how could this help it? This could actually help it because you would have more control over what people are accessing and more ability to monitor what's going on, because it's not going to be delivered the same way. It's going to be delivered in a different way using different standards than how you're delivering it today.
Yeah, look, this is not, the next killer app for security.
No.
So, I mean, it is apples and oranges. I mean, look, we haven't invested enough in security, let alone digital signatures. I mean, all those kind of, that's a separate phenomena that certainly helps and enables this better, harder encryption and all that, and certainly digital signatures that you can use and other kinds of ways to ensure that, and authenticate identity. But quite frankly, this has enough of a benefits package without having to trying to be everything to everybody. I think that's where there have been other attempts in terms of global trade and finance that have failed because it tried to be everything. Bolero, I don't know if you remember Bolero. Did we implement Bolero at all? Bolero was an attempt to link up the supply chains. I mean, at the end of the day, there are older ones that, quite frankly, are even less secure that are still used today. SWIFT. How many people are still using SWIFT? Well, how many banks have the best encryption that you can't bust in and check SWIFT? So let's not, I think it's a difference of apples and oranges. You're right. We need better encryption overall for now this world of interoperability and connectivity. But this is just a better way, I think, to manage the visibility around our financial assets and reporting for those that want to, I think, leverage it for competitive advantage.
And I think he's making a great point. And the benefit package here, not around security, but around the security of the information. Fannie Mae had a $1.5 billion restatement on a spreadsheet transposition error. So while we say we're not worried about validation, that's the kind of manual process error that has huge capital market ramifications. Just stupid, simple, manual human error. Those are the kinds of errors that occur every single day, both inside the organizations and in the external markets.
I will tell you the end game here. It'd be really nice to have. I'd like my PwC, right, to have a vaulted hard encryption silo, right? That they could then give me this, this encrypted way that instead of doing my S1s and all the crap that I've got to do in paper, if I could move all of it to digital, use XBRL as an overall container for all that.
Yep.
And I'd even pay them to vault it for me. That would be really secure. Then I don't have to worry about, somebody busting into a portal or a desktop or a laptop. That takes care of the whole problem. That's how you can have your cake and eat it too, which I quite frankly think is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, this is another point here is that, like in the investment management sector, they have been basically fighting with the SEC for 5 years about something called the summary prospectus. So, they have a full prospectus, but they want to be able to deliver a summary prospectus. 2 different documents. The answer to that has been, no, you can't do it. You have to submit the full prospectus. Well, that's because they're 2 different documents. XBRL comes along and says, look, here's our full prospectus. Now you can render pieces of that over here as a summary prospectus. It's still one document, but you can render it as a summary. Problem solved. Like that. Another benefit that in today's simplification world, very easy to deliver, very powerful to not only the investment management sector, but to any sector. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Thank you all for coming. Let's thank our panelists for the time they've put into this. Good afternoon.